What is up, YouTube? It's Metatronics. Today I'm bringing you a new emblem. I've been incredibly excited about the new Daft Punk album coming out, so I figured I would make an emblem to commemorate that. And I'm going to be making the Get Lucky single art. I don't know if you guys have seen that. It's like the sun with them dancing in the background, kind of in silhouette in front of the sun. It's awesome. So let's get right to it. I'm going to start with a circle, and the circle is going to wind up being the sun. And then I use Merciless, which is that kind of spray paint splattery looking guy, and I turn it sideways to get that kind of rocky texture for the ground that they're standing on. Then I use a square to kind of fill up the background. There were some holes in the Merciless shape, so I wanted to make sure it was nice and solid. We didn't look like we were standing on floaty air or the sun didn't peek through or anything like that, so I made sure to cover that up with the square. Now I'm going to use another square to kind of create the stage that they're standing on, and then even yet another square to create the drum stage, a little riser for the drums that they're sitting on. And so after that, I decided that I wanted the sun obviously to be the right color, so I picked that nice orange. Then I used a half circle to kind of give the sun a little glow. Well, then I kind of decided, you know, let's just take that glow and just make it all over the place. So I zoom way in on this circle. It could fill up the rest of the background. So we just kind of have a nice orangey glow for the sky, a nice sunset dusk. Well, then I use the Crushing Victory shape, which is those two guys with the guns. Then I take a KSG, I flip it, and then I stick it in his arms to kind of make it look like a guitar or bass or something. And you're probably thinking to yourself, that doesn't look like a guitar or bass at all. Well, what I do is I take a rounded square and hide the original gun that the guy's holding, just making it look like a torso, and then I take that KSG and I scooch it right into his hands. Obviously, I resize the sun a little bit, resize these guys a little bit. I want to make sure I'm getting all my proportions exactly right, because without those proportions, the thing looks really awful. I did actually a couple tries beforehand, and it just did not look right at all. Then I use a visor for an arm to kind of make it look like there's an arm there holding that guitar or bass, and you just kind of have to monkey with it a little bit to where it looks like there's an arm and a hand kind of holding that. And then from there, I move on to using a biohazard shape. Now, the drums in that artwork are actually transparent and see-through, and so what I do is I use a biohazard shape to kind of give a little feel that there's some hardware on the drums and everything. Then I use just a couple of circles that turn into straight up outlines that I have in the same color, obviously, as the different characters and everything. Then I use the thimble shapes, kind of stretch those out a little bit and make them look like toms that are connected to the drums, obviously still transparent as outlines. And then I use a half tube that I squash down really, really thin and stretch it out really, really tall to make the hi-hat stand. And I kind of just keep duplicating and resizing those shapes to make the hi-hat cymbals themselves, and then to add the legs to the stand. Because without the legs to the stand, it just looks off to me. I thought it just did not look right at all. And you want to make sure you have those at a good angle, kind of making a little triangle at the base of the stand there. Now I use the other Crushing Victory shape that is just the guy holding kind of a gun. But here, once you stick him behind the drums, he looks like he's doing something else. So I get a visor, and I stick it kind of creating a leg, a knee joint, and then take some monolith shapes to create the rest of the leg. So we've got a guy sitting behind the drums looking like he's about to hit the hi-hat. Then next, I use the Protected Kill shape, which is that flak jacket shape that I flip to make it the person is facing the other direction. Then I use the Flag Breeze to give an arm to look like they're holding a guitar. Then I use a half circle to make the guy with the dreads who's holding the guitar. His hair kind of just looks like a kind of a dome in the video art. And then I use the R870 shotgun, the Remington, and flip it obviously to make kind of a guitar shape. Then I'm going to take a square, and the square I kind of put over the top of everything a little bit, and I kind of fill out his torso with that to make a full body shape. Then next, after that, I use a couple more visors to create legs, and I kind of angle them just a little bit to make him look like he's dancing. And now I'm thinking to myself, I'm kind of running low on shapes here. I hope I've got enough layers. Well, it turns out I do. I get rid of that half circle that I did to create that fuzzy background. And then I use some monolith shapes that I flip so that the thick parts to the top to create some calf-like shapes for the legs. Fill out those legs. Then I took a step back and I kind of thought to myself, you know, those drums are right up against that guy with the guitar there. So I decide to kind of move all that over a bit. So I take that and I kind of just move it more close to the right edge of the riser that the drums are on. And I kind of reshape the Biohazard shape a bit. I make it a little wider, and I also move the guitar player and the dancing, singing guy over there to the left a little more, so that there's a little more space between the characters, just so that everything looks exactly right. Next, I use a square to fill out that background so that I get that nice sunset feel, give it a nice dark orangey brown color, just it looks exactly like the sunset. Now guys, that's basically the emblem, and I really hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't seen the video or listened to the song yet either, you should definitely do that. It's fantastic. I love it. Obviously enough to make an emblem. I do a little bit of recoloring here, but it's not super important. You guys probably picked out the right colors to begin with, but I was just the retard who didn't. Well guys, I really hope you enjoyed this emblem, and if you did, please give it a like. It really helps me out, and I would really love it if you guys shared my channel and my videos with your friends on Facebook and Twitter. And don't forget to leave a comment letting me know what emblems you would like to see me make next. Alright guys, well, it's been Metatronics, and I will see you next time.